And welcome to another book wrap up. So these are all the books that I read in November. I read a book. What a surprise. Okay, so the very first book I read because the movies made me do it. The very first book was The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein. This is an adorable cover. Like, you should just keep this based on the little puppy on the cover. This is a very, very popular book, a good 15 years ago. I don't know, a while ago now. And then they finally made it into a movie. It is told through the eyes of the dog, and it's about a dog and his entire life with his one owner who is a race car driver. And the dog is pretty dang cute through the whole thing. You hear about his philosophies in life, and like some things are really simplified, like you would think a dog, and then some things are quite more philosophical, and you're like, nah, I don't think a dog could do that, but whatever. You have to give enough to the story, right? So the main characters, and Toodles, speaking of dogs, come here, Tooties. This is my lovely Bernedoodle. Oh, and her disgusting, drop it. Drop it, Toods. Drop. And she's a puppy. She doesn't know better, guys. You say hi? Hi? Yeah. Okay. Here's your ice cream. She's gonna bring that back now. So, yeah, it's pretty good. I liked it better than the movie, actually. I love Milo, I think is the guy that played the guy from Gilmore Girls, whatever, Jess from Gilmore Girls. And then Toodles, no, if you're gonna be in this video, come on. And then as well, Amanda Seyfried played the main girl. The one thing about this is the two main characters are Denny and Enzo the dog, and Denny is his owner. And then the other two characters in the book, his wife and then his daughter, kind of fall flat personality-wise. You don't really get to know them. You don't get to know them very closely, even though the dog is very close with them. The characters kind of flatline for me, as well as all the emotional high points. It is a tear-jerking book. Like every other scene is like some kind of tear-jerker. That's the way the book flows. But at the same time, I think it's dampened down a lot because it is told through the eyes of a dog. And as well, I don't know. Those are the main things. So as well, when it came all together, in the end, I just wasn't that, It wasn't my favorite. You can't win every single book, or I love everyone. It was okay. It was a solid read. And the movie was good too. So I would prefer reading the book to watching the movie on that one. The next one was He Will Be My Room by K.A. Tucker. I am in love with K.A. Tucker this year. I love The Simple Wild, and I read some of her other books, and I can't wait for the other Simple Wild to come out. I've read a lot of her other books. I take that back. And so this one is like an offset. It is a one book standalone, because the other one I'm in the middle of is a series by her, and it's the Tiny series. I don't know if it has like an official name, but all of them have like 10. The first one's 10 Tiny Breasts, and the next one was Tiny Love. So I call it the Tiny series. The Anybody series. Anyways, this is not part of that at all. It has nothing to do with that. It is about a girl who moves to New York City, and it is a mystery. So the girl usually writes a lot of romance or emotional steeped romances. And this one is just not that. It is a thriller, mystery, that category. And so because she is a romance writer, there's a lot of romance thrown in here. So this girl goes to New York City to pack up her best friend's stuff because her best friend has committed suicide, and she just doesn't believe it. So she becomes to play the detective on her own, and she meets a few guys, and the one person she suspects, the only thing that's not believable is you would think you would suspect everybody initially, and she kind of does, but and then all of a sudden she brings a lot of people into her fold and only suspects like one person, and that's just, that's not how those things work. So you kind of think you're kind of dumb through the whole book. There is a ton of romance in the book because, as I said, she is like a romance main writer. So it was kind of fun that way. I actually enjoyed the book a little more because there was more romance in the book. So if you're looking for like a romance thriller, I think you would enjoy this and like this. You kind of do see some things coming. It wasn't like just like a shocking book like The Lovely Life was, but I still really enjoyed it. I still had fun with it. The next book is called The Right Swipe by Alicia Reed. This came out in August this year, and it's bright pink and it's everywhere, and it's got an adorable cover again, of course, and it's very trendy and it's like right on topics here. So you have a person who invented a dating app and another person who invented another dating app, and one person used to work for the other person. She split off. So it's Madonna. So it's about a named girl named Rihanna, and she's kind of revolutionized. She's taken, like, it was like, you know how we had all those apps before, like MySpace, and then Facebook just kind of took over. She's kind of revolutionized the dating scene, but she's kind of missing some of those old school people, so she's trying to buy another company. But she herself is a very closed off person, and because you're told that over and over, you feel like she's kind of closed off to you, which is kind of weird, because I've read a lot of books where a person you can tell is closed off, but you still really get to know them. And I feel like you don't get to know her that well, because you're just kind of told she is instead of shown she is, I guess. So she kind of remains a little bit aloof. I mean, you do get to know her eventually, but it takes a while. I don't know. As well as the main guy or love interest in the story does deal with stuff with CTE. And I thought this author did a better job at delving into CTE than some other CTE stories I've read recently. So I really did enjoy that aspect of it. It was very modern. It taught me so much stuff. You guys, I thought I had most of this filmed, so I'm so sorry, but it cut out. So let's just start from where we were at The Right Swipe. Oh my gosh, I've done so many books since then. Okay. So yeah, it was a really modern love story, and it taught me so much about the dating world I didn't know about, and different sayings they have now that are really cool and fun. So if you want to learn some of those, if you've been out of the dating world for even like 5 minutes, you're probably missing out on some of these like terms of words, okay? And I'm so out of date, like, yeah, I didn't know any of them really. So if you want a definition of a book or definition of dating terms, go ahead and check this one out. You'll have fun with it. It was a fun story. And the next book I read was The Emerald Sea. My dog's right here, and she's probably gonna get up and knock this off. And The Emerald Sea, dog toy. No, don't move. The Emerald Sea, no. Okay, come back here. Oh, okay, just sit with me. Just sit with me. The Emerald Sea was by Rochelle Mead, one of my favorite authors of all time. And for so long reading this book, because it kind of gets those things where you're like, would I still like that author? Would I still like those things? Even though I've always read everything. No, guys, no playing. No, Toodles. No. Puppies. Toodles, no. Come here, Tooties. Oh gosh, her big butt. Her big butt's gonna knock everything down. Sit. Stay. And so yeah, I still had so much fun with this one. This is a story about the Glittering Court girls, and it's these 3 girls, and it's the same story 3 times, but there's so much different in every story. I swear you'll truly enjoy these. So if you liked Vampire Academy, oh, she's ruining my tree. If you liked Vampire Academy, I think you will like this as well. If you like her writing, you're gonna like this as well. And I had so much fun with it. It's so fun. And the last girl was, it was such a big different adventure. It's about these girls who are in the Glittering Court, and they're brought to a new world, and they go part of the Glittering Court because they're not royal girls and they need to escape from the society, and they get trained to act and be like royals and get the clothing of royals, and then they go over there and a guy basically purchases like their dowry and to marry them, and then all the girls end up searching for love in the end. Some of them you don't think they're going to be, but the last girl is so much more adventurous than the other girls. She has quite a different story, and her ship gets lost, and she ends up with pirates, and she ends up with different native people, and it's really fun. Her story is quite a bit longer, spent out in the wilderness, and so it's fun to kind of explore this like new country created, which sounds like 17th century America, to be honest with you. But it's just, I had fun with it. It was a really fun story, and I think you guys will like it as well. The Governess Game by Tessa Dare. Oh my gosh, I feel like I've talked about this book like 2 minutes ago. This one is about a girl who becomes a governess, and she before is a clockmaker, and she moves in with a guy who is a rake, so it is historical. And he has 2 charges. So he is taking over this land. It came with 2 charges, and there are these 2 little girls who are just heartbroken. And they are such fun, very lively, very spirited little girls. And usually the side characters like that are pretty flat, but these girls are different. I think they're fun. And I had fun with this. It's definitely the steamy reads for historical category. The only things about it was it's definitely modern. If you're thinking you're going to be reading a historical romance, it is a modern romance in history. A little predictable, so if you don't like predictable situations, sometimes I love them, sometimes I don't. This one was okay. I didn't mind it being predictable, but it was pretty predictable. And also as well, like the romance in it develops really fast, especially for historical romance. That's why I'm saying it's definitely more modern romance. And then as well, the emotional stuff kind of gets wrapped up a little too fast for me at the end. But you know, when some, you know some. Come on, Toodles. Toodles. She doesn't want me to film this video. The next one is One Tiny Lies by K.A. Tucker. Like I was telling you, the Tiny series earlier, this is the second in the series, and it's about 2 girls. The very first one is about the sisters, and it's about the older sister. So the older sister had watched her parents and her boyfriend and her friend die in a car wreck, and she's the only one that survived, and she's left with her sister, her baby sister, at home. And then they move in with their aunt and uncle, and then there's like some sexual assault problems with with her littler sister, and so then she takes them away, and the whole story is about her moving them and trying to survive being 18 and 19 and having the responsibility of a young girl in high school and kind of flying under the radar as well, right? Because they don't want to go, she doesn't want her to be put back in foster care or to live with these relatives. And so the second story, the one I just read, was about the littler sister, and I was kind of disappointed as far as the emotional stuff goes. I thought it would delve more deeper into all the stuff the little sister went through, because the first book was a lot darker of a book. This one was a lot more lighthearted, so it was kind of different. If you guys read One Tiny Lies and you thought it, or 10 Tiny Breaths, and you thought it was a little too dark, you probably would enjoy the second one a little more. I enjoyed them probably equally the same because I thought there were little problems in both. But yeah. The only other thing was the psychologist definitely overstepped some bounds. Like, it was just weird, and he was in places he shouldn't have been. That part was just weird. But if you can get over the non-researched of what psychologists can do and don't do, I don't know. Supernova, I read, obviously. I did do my book wrap up. I did do a review of this because I wanted to review it because it came out in November. It is by Marissa Meyer. It's the 3rd in a series of the Renegade series, and it was fun. It's a superhero story about these superheroes. They're called prodigies, but let's just call them superheroes. These kids and adults who are prodigies who get suppressed for a long time, and they rise up, and then they create the renegades, and the renegades kind of are the good guys, the actual superheroes. And then there's the super villains who are the arch enemies, which is the second book. And then the last one I just read was Supernova. I suggest reading the stories. It's really fun. I won't get too delved into it, but yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. The next one I read was Library of Lost and Found by Fendra Patrick, and this came out in March. Found came out in March, and I don't know if I put it in my lookout for March. If I did, I don't remember it. It's kind of forgettable. I think I reheard about it on YouTube, or saw it on YouTube and then reheard about it on YouTube, so I went and checked it out. It was okay, and yeah, it's about a girl who is quite a bit older, working at a library, done it for years, has all the education experience, but they won't give her the position. And she's kind of a girl that never sticks up for herself, right? And never gets what she wants. And she lost her grandmother young, and so there's some issues with that, but she goes on a hunt because she finds a picture of her grandmother alive when her grandmother was supposed to be dead. And she was a person that like lost the love of her life in some way and moved in with her parents, took care of her parents so they were old. So she's quite a bit older in this book. The only thing is in this book, the way the story is told isn't this meek person. It's almost told like she is a teenager to me. and some of the things and the way she acts, it seems almost too immature. I understand people like growing up and becoming more and more and more meek or just like scared of the world and everything, but it gets almost reversal to where she's like an immature adult. I don't know. I didn't like that part about the story. The story does have a lot of stuff going on where you're trying to find out what happened here and what these clues lead to these, and that stuff was fine. It was a solid read. Overall, it was fun, but it really wasn't for me. I don't know. Tell me if you really like this book. It reminds me of like, all I think about it is I think about like a small town in England, going out to a small town in the sea in England, and it being cold and this meek little woman. That's what I think about when I think about the book. The next one I met. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, the next one was Well Met by the author, of course, Jen DeLuca. This came out in September this year, and it had a fun little cover, and it was about Renaissance fairs. And I've always wanted to go to a Renaissance fair, and I've never got invited. No, we just never go. I always say, can we go to this? And everybody around me is like, nah. But they always sound fun. I used to go to like, they weren't Renaissance fairs back home. We had like Indian reservations we used to go to. Rendezvous celebrations. And they do this huge celebration in Jackson Hole every year, which is really fun. It's not Frontier Days. That's a rodeo. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. But those were always fun. So I thought a Renaissance fair would be really fun. And reading about it was pretty fun. There was a lot to do with the fair in the book, okay? So if you think you're going into a story to follow a person, you are learning a lot about Renaissance fairs in it. And it is about a young woman who goes to help out her sister, and she doesn't want to stay, but then she ends up really liking the town. She ends up really liking the people and everything, and her mind changes, and she's there to help out her niece. Her sister got like in a wreck and needs help. She has like broken her legs. And so she's there to help out her niece. Her niece signs up for the Renaissance fair, which leads her to the Renaissance fair. And then there's the guy who runs the Renaissance fair, okay? And he's pretty cute. That's where the whole story leads, and that's what it is. And it's pretty simple and easy read. Nothing hidden, nothing, you know. It was a fun book. I probably rated it 3.8, 3.7. It was just right in the middle of the road, a little above average, pretty fun. There is going to be more Well Mets. There is going to be more in this series about the Renaissance and these people. I will say most of the people you met seemed a little flatlined, but kind of had something there. So hopefully it can turn into something, and I want to read about them. And if it doesn't get good reviews, I don't know if I'd go on with this series. But this one was fun. It was definitely a different take on romance. You don't read a lot about Renaissance fair. It's always fun when you're reading something you don't typically read. Typical like, oh, I met him in a club and because that made a lot of sense. The story does go slowly. So for me, sometimes I was like, pick up the pace. You know? Pick it up. For this kind of storyline, pick it up. Some storylines I want dragged out more. This one, yeah. The next one was Blurred Lines by Lauren Lane. Why can't I remember authors' names? The next one is Blurred Lines by Lauren Lane. And I read this one because I read The Walk of Shame, and I said about that book, I don't get what the title or the cover the cover was really cute. It's what grabbed me about it. It was a mass paper doc cover, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cute. I could read that. It's about a girl and a guy. What a surprise. But their faces and their stances were cute. This one was not so much, but this was the first in the series, and I was like, well, how are these people tied into these other people? It has nothing to do with the other one. I don't know why they're in the same collection of groups. What? Yeah, like nothing. I don't know why these people are in the same romance category groups. This one is about a guy and a girl who meet when they're really young, and the girl gets interested, or the girl and the guy are like, hey, and then the girl gets swept off her feet by this other guy and dates him forever, and the guy's really cool. So the girl and the guy become best friends, okay? That's what happens. They become best friends, and they're like determined to prove it to everybody they're not best friends. They never cross the line. They never cross the line. She notices all his disgusting things. She ends up living with him after college. And then one day they crossed the line. You know, one day it happens. So can men and women really be friends? It's the Harry met Sally question. I think I gave a speech on this question at one point in high school for speech and debate. They don't end up friends, guys, so you know what. The next one I totally chose because of a book's cover. Like this book. The next one was Raven Spires #1. So it's like a series, but I don't know why it's called Raven Spires because the other books in the series I've been reading or checking out aren't based in Raven Spires. So yeah. But anyways, it's The Shadow Queen by C.J. Redwine. Got pretty close on that one. And it is about a Snow White retelling, which I don't know why. It's got an apple on the cover. Why I didn't put 2 and 2 together thinking Snow White. Cinderella was stuck in my head, and it wasn't until like halfway through when he was like, her red lips and her dark hair. And I'm like, oh, it's Snow White. I'm a genius. It wasn't halfway through. It was probably a third of the way through, guys. Anyway, it is a Snow White retelling. It was pretty fun. It was pretty woodsy and set outside, and she's pretty scruff and adventurous like you would think in a forest. And I was like, this isn't a very big spin-off from the original story. That's what I was thinking. And then I got into more of the other books, and they're different. I liked them. I really did like them. So this book I did like overall, but I wasn't sure. I was like, should I go on with the stories? But I really like retellings. I did go on, and the next one I really, really like. So yeah, there you go. This one I did have trouble, like I was like missing parts of it because I was listening to an audiobook, and I was like, I don't need to re-listen to them because my mind would space out in the beginning. But then once I got into it, I really got into it, and the book and the story flowed really fast. That's what I was saying about these retellings. They flow really fast, which is pretty nice, and they have beautiful covers. I'm having fun with them. You guys could have fun with them. They've been out for a long time, so yeah, check them out. Okay, and the very last one was With Fire on High by Elizabeth Aceto, and it's got the most beautiful cover in the world. It's got this cover wherever it is. It's got some food on it, and it is about a young black woman, and it's pretty cool because the girl is like half Puerto Rican. So I had fun with it because she was different ethnicities. I had fun with it. And so it was really fun. It was about a young girl who got pregnant very, very young, her freshman year of college, and it was just like the American Teenager, like super innocent girl. Everybody's mean and it shames her for it and stuff, which is completely awful and ridiculous because everybody has babies usually. Eventually, we're all gonna have them, guys. We're gonna have them. You just gotta deal with it at one point or another. And so yeah, it's kind of sad in that aspect, but she finds culinary and she has some problems with culinary, you know, trying to learn it more formally. She finds a culinary class at school. She's accepted this charter school, and I had fun with it. It was really fun. It was fun to watch somebody kind of develop and see their passion. It was definitely a middle of the road, a solid read. It was a little more elevated than that. It was closer to a 4 because it was entertaining and fun and different. I liked that it was different ethnicities, and the girl had a bit of a spice to her because of it. And it does make you think about food a lot and spices, and you think, I use the same 3 spices every time I cook. Maybe I should use them more or something. Do something different. Because she does something different every time she's talking about food. Oh my gosh, people really get to me when they talk about chocolate in a book. I don't know. I don't even love chocolate. Not really, but when people talk to me about chocolate in a book, I'm like, well, I need to make brownies now. Or I need to make, what's the book? Oh my gosh, there was a book recently where the girl, before she falls asleep, she thinks about making cookies. And I was like, I should do that to fall asleep. Like measuring out cookies. Sounds nice. Sounds lovely, actually. Anyways, if you're here till the very, very end of this very long reading wrap up, thank you. And I hope you found a book you would love to read. And based off my recommendations, if you have the same exact preferences as me, I hope that's why you're watching it. Just joking. Or if a book you're interested in, you're on the fence and you're like, I don't need to read that anymore. That'd be nice too. I could save you some time. So, yeah. those are all the books I read. Just one book I read, but not really. I think I read 13. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I was right. I read 13 books, guys. And I will see you for day 6. Ooh, it's getting interesting. It's getting interesting pretty soon. My last 5 videos of BOOKMAS are gonna be good. I'm gonna talk about 20 most exciting books. I talk about my reading goals. I mean, my 20 most exciting books for 2020. I should define that. I'm gonna talk about my reading goals. I'm gonna talk about the best books I read this year. And I am so close to hitting that 150 mark. Don't worry, 100 of them are romances. Not really. I don't know. Last time I counted, there were like 80 romances for real though. That's a lot of romance. That's a lot. I need to get more educated though. These old ladies, they know all the authors. I'm not saying that to be, they're the ones that are always like, you need to read this one. And they usually point me to really good ones. Anyways, yeah, if you like dogs, give us a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next BOOKMAS. See you guys next time. Bye.